Hello, my dear friend. Today, I'm sharing a story that's close to my heart, a story about love, patience, and how life can surprise you in the most unexpected ways. This is my journey, a real-life story of a boy who grew up with little to call his own, but found love with someone who had everything money could buy. I was that boy. Growing up, I had little in terms of material wealth. My family was close-knit, hard-working, and full of dreams, but money was always tight. We lived in a modest neighborhood where everyone knew each other, and life was simple. I learned early on to appreciate what I had and to work hard for what I wanted. I didn't have fancy clothes or expensive gadgets, but I had my dreams and my values. It all began during my first year of college. I was just another face in a sea of students, trying to balance my studies and part-time job to support myself and help my family. She, on the other hand, was from a world I'd only ever seen in movies. Rich, beautiful, and surrounded by an aura that seemed almost untouchable. Her name was Emily. Emily had the kind of confidence that turned heads. She didn't flaunt her wealth. In fact, she was one of the most down-to-earth people I'd ever met, but her lifestyle was evident. She drove a sleek car, wore designer clothes, and had a circle of friends who were equally privileged. But there was something about her that set her apart from the rest, a kindness and humility that was rare to see. Our first encounter was unexpected. We were paired together for a group project in one of our classes. At first, I thought she'd look down on me, maybe even pity me. I assumed she'd see me as the poor guy and treat me like a charity case. But to my surprise, she was genuine and friendly, treating me as an equal right from the start. During our project meetings, we'd spend hours discussing ideas and working together. I soon realized that we had a lot in common: our love for art, passion for music, and surprisingly, our taste in books. Slowly, those project meetings turned into long conversations, and before I knew it, we were hanging out outside of class. Despite our growing friendship, I often felt insecure. Emily's world was one of luxury, while mine was all about survival. Every time I saw her effortlessly swipe her card for things I couldn't dream of affording, it reminded me of how different we were. I started to question why someone like her would even want to spend time with someone like me. Yet she never made me feel lesser. She saw past the differences and always treated me with warmth and respect. One evening, after spending the day together, we sat by the campus fountain talking about life and dreams. I was nervous and hesitant, but I felt like I needed to be honest with her. "Emily," I said, my voice barely a whisper, "I don't know if you realize how different our lives are. I'm not sure why you'd even want to be friends with someone like me." She looked at me, a little puzzled. "Why wouldn't I? You're one of the most genuine people I know. It doesn't matter to me where you come from." Her words hit me like a wave of relief, but they also opened a door I hadn't dared to approach. As time went on, my feelings for her grew stronger. I was falling for her, but the idea of a relationship between us felt impossible. I was a poor boy with little to offer, while she could have had anyone she wanted. Still, my heart held on to a fragile hope. One night, after a long day of classes and work, we sat down on a park bench near her home. We were talking as usual when she turned to me, her eyes soft and serious. Can I tell you something? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, my heart pounding. I think I'm falling in love with you. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I was overwhelmed, caught between disbelief and pure joy. She had just voiced the very thing I'd been afraid to admit to myself. We both sat in silence, letting the words hang in the air. And then, slowly, I reached for her hand, holding it gently. I love you too, I finally said, feeling as if I'd just crossed an invisible line. We were worlds apart, yet in that moment, none of it mattered. Our relationship wasn't easy. We faced criticism and judgment from people who couldn't understand why a girl like her would choose someone like me. Her family, in particular, was opposed to our relationship. They didn't see me as a suitable match for their daughter and often made it clear, both subtly and directly. Emily, however, stood by me through every hurdle, never wavering in her love and support. There were days when I felt like giving up, thinking it would be best to let her go, to let her find someone more fitting in her world. But every time I felt that way, Emily reminded me that love isn't about material wealth or status. It's about connection, understanding, and being there for each other. We had to make sacrifices. I continued working hard to build a stable future, while she supported me in every way she could. Emily took on responsibilities in her family's business, proving to her parents that she was capable and strong, not just a girl blindly in love. Her determination inspired me, pushing me to work even harder, not just for myself, but for us. Years went by, and with time, I was able to build a modest but comfortable life. I didn't have everything, but I had enough to support myself and offer her a stable home. When I finally proposed to her, it wasn't with a flashy ring or a grand gesture. It was just the two of us, standing in the park where we'd had so many conversations, so many dreams shared. Emily, I said, holding her hands tightly, will you marry me? She smiled, tears glistening in her eyes, and simply whispered, yes. Our love was proof that sometimes all it takes is two hearts willing to face the world together. We married in a simple ceremony, surrounded by friends and family. Her parents, though initially hesitant, eventually came around, seeing that what we had was real and enduring. Life after our wedding was filled with the small, joyful moments that make a life together meaningful. We moved into a cozy apartment in the heart of the city, where every day felt like a new adventure. We didn't have much, but what we had was ours, a home built on love, laughter, and a deep understanding of each other's hearts. Emily and I worked hard to balance our careers and personal lives. I was still growing my career, slowly climbing the ladder at my job, while Emily helped expand her family's business. Despite her family's reservations at first, they eventually recognized her passion and dedication, even if it took some time. They saw how happy we were, and in their own way, they started to accept us. Her parents even visited us occasionally, getting to know me better and beginning to understand why Emily had chosen me. It was a slow journey, but I was grateful for each step. One particular night stands out in my mind. Emily had come home late after a long day, looking exhausted. She barely said a word, just slipped into the living room where I was working on a project. She sat beside me, resting her head on my shoulder. "Today was rough," she murmured. I put my work aside and wrapped my arm around her. "Want to talk about it?" She looked at me, her eyes tired but filled with warmth. "Just dealing with expectations. They want so much from me. Sometimes I feel like I'm carrying the weight of their dreams too." I nodded, understanding. Her family had always had high expectations, and now that she was taking a bigger role in the business, they seemed to place even more on her shoulders. But I admired her strength, how she always gave her best without ever complaining. "You're not alone in this," I whispered. "We're building our life together, remember? I'm here with you, every step of the way." She smiled, a soft, genuine smile that always melted my heart. And in that moment I realized something important. Love wasn't just about the big gestures or declarations. It was about these quiet moments, about sharing each other's burdens, lifting each other up, and reminding one another why we chose this life together. As the years went by, we began talking about having a family. I knew that with Emily's background, our children would grow up with privileges I hadn't known, and I wanted them to have both worlds, the humility and resilience I'd grown up with, and the opportunities that Emily's life could offer. We dreamed of creating a balance for our kids, giving them a sense of belonging and the values that had brought us together. One day, Emily surprised me with the news. She was pregnant. I can't put into words the mix of emotions that washed over me: joy, gratitude, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. I was about to become a father, a role that I knew would change my life forever. I wanted to be the best father I could, to give our child the love and guidance that had shaped my own life. Our son, Noah, was born on a rainy evening, bringing with him a kind of happiness I'd never felt before. Holding him in my arms for the first time, I felt an incredible sense of purpose. He was our little miracle, and I promised myself I would give him the life and love he deserved. Parenthood brought a new set of challenges, but it also deepened our bond. Emily and I navigated sleepless nights, diaper changes, and all the little struggles that come with raising a baby. Despite our exhaustion, we felt like a team, working together to give Noah the best start. Emily's family, too, had come to embrace our journey. Her parents adored Noah, often visiting us just to spend time with him. They'd bring gifts and dote on him, and I could see in their eyes that they now understood our love story a little better. They saw that we weren't just two people from different worlds. We were a family, bound together by something deeper than money or status. As Noah grew, he brought laughter and light into our home. His first steps, his first words, even his mischievous giggles, all these moments became cherished memories. Watching him discover the world reminded me of my own childhood, of the simple joys and endless curiosity I'd once felt. I wanted him to grow up knowing both the value of hard work and the beauty of kindness, just as Emily and I had learned from each other. One evening, as we were putting Noah to bed, Emily turned to me and said something that stayed with me. "You know, I sometimes wonder how different my life would have been if I hadn't met you," she said, her voice soft and reflective. "I might have had everything money could buy, but I'd be missing the one thing that really matters. You taught me to see the world differently, to appreciate the small things. I held her hand, grateful for the journey we'd taken together. And you taught me that love can bridge any gap, that two people from completely different worlds can build something beautiful if they're willing to work at it. Our life wasn't without challenges, of course. There were still moments when I felt insecure, questioning if I could truly provide everything Emily and Noah deserved. But every time those doubts crept in, Emily was there, reminding me that love wasn't measured by material wealth. It was measured by the moments we shared, the memories we created, and the unwavering support we gave each other. As the years passed, our family continued to grow, not just in size, but in strength, love, and unity. We faced our share of challenges, but each one only made our bond stronger. Emily and I were no longer just the poor boy and rich girl in love. We were partners, best friends, and most importantly, parents to a son who embodied the best of both of us. Noah was growing up quickly, and it seemed like every day he brought new joy and discoveries into our lives. He had Emily's kindness and my curiosity, and he was beginning to ask questions about our lives, our work, and even our past. There was a particular evening I remember well, one that would eventually become a turning point for all of us. Noah was around 8 years old, and he'd recently started learning about family histories at school. He came up to me one night after dinner, looking thoughtful and serious in a way that was rare for a child his age. "Dad," he began, "I know that you and Mom love each other a lot, but I heard Grandma once say that you and Mom came from different worlds. What does that mean?" His question struck me, and I exchanged a glance with Emily, who nodded, her eyes warm with understanding. We had always been honest with Noah about our story, but we hadn't yet explained the full journey, how two people from different backgrounds had fallen in love, fought for each other, and built a life together. This moment felt like the right time to share that part of our lives. I took a deep breath, inviting him to sit with us on the couch. "You're right, Noah," I began, smiling as I looked into his curious eyes. "Your mom and I didn't grow up in the same kind of families. I came from a very simple background with very little in terms of money. Your mom, on the other hand, came from a family with a lot of wealth, but that didn't matter to us because we had something more important than money. We had love and a strong belief in each other." Noah listened intently, his face serious as he tried to absorb every word. "So, Grandma and Grandpa didn't like you at first?" he asked, a slight frown creasing his forehead. I chuckled, feeling Emily squeeze my hand in silent support. "They had their doubts," I admitted. "It wasn't easy for them to see why your mom chose me. But over time, they saw how much we loved each other, and they came to understand that true happiness isn't about wealth or status. It's about the people you choose to stand by, no matter what." Emily leaned over, brushing her fingers through Noah's hair. "And that's why we want you to remember, Noah, that it's who a person is on the inside that truly matters. The world will tell you to look at the outside things, money, success, status, but what really counts is how someone treats others, how they love, and how they face life's challenges." Noah seemed to mull over her words, a gentle smile forming on his lips. So, love is like magic, right? It makes you strong, even when things are hard. I couldn't help but laugh softly. Yes, in a way, it is like magic, I replied. Love gives us the strength to face anything together, as a family. And one day, when you're older, you'll understand even more about how important that is. Over the years, Emily and I continued to share bits of our story with Noah. We wanted him to understand not only our love, but also the values that had shaped us. He grew up with the best of both worlds, the humility I'd been raised with, and the opportunities that Emily's family provided. We watched him develop into a compassionate, thoughtful young man who saw people for who they were, not for what they owned. As Noah approached his teenage years, life threw us another challenge. Emily's family business was facing financial struggles, and for the first time in years, we were reminded of the unpredictability of life. It was difficult, especially for Emily, to watch the legacy her family had built come under threat. I did everything I could to support her, often staying up late to help her brainstorm solutions, but the situation was beyond our control. One night, as we sat together after another exhausting day, Emily sighed and looked at me, her face filled with a mixture of weariness and resolve. I never thought we'd be back here questioning our security like this, she murmured. I took her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. We faced so much together, Em. This is just another challenge, and no matter what happens, we'll be okay, as long as we have each other. Our strength and unity pulled us through, and slowly, with the help of dedicated employees and some hard decisions, Emily's family business began to recover. It was a humbling experience for both of us, reminding us that life's comforts can be fleeting, but the people who stand by you, through wealth and struggle, are what make it all worth it. As Noah grew into a young man, he watched us weather life's ups and downs with resilience, learning from our example. He saw the sacrifices we made for each other, the times we leaned on each other for strength, and the laughter that filled our home even in difficult times. Emily and I knew that he was seeing firsthand what it meant to love and support someone deeply. Years later, as Noah was preparing to leave for college, he came to me one evening with a thoughtful expression. He sat beside me, his gaze focused on the horizon. After a few moments of silence, he spoke. Dad, you and Mom, you really taught me what it means to love someone. You showed me that love isn't just about the good times, but sticking together through the hard times too. I felt a swell of pride and emotion as I listened to him, realizing that our journey had become a guide for him. Thank you, Noah, I said, my voice thick with emotion. That's all we ever wanted for you. To understand that love is more than just a feeling. It's a commitment, a choice you make every day. As he hugged me tightly, I knew that he was ready to embark on his own journey, carrying with him the values we had instilled. Emily joined us, wrapping us both in her embrace, and in that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Our love story had begun as an unlikely pairing, a poor boy and a rich girl defying the odds. But over the years, it had become so much more. It had become a testament to the power of resilience, to the importance of family, and to the enduring strength of a love that had been tested and proven time and time again. As I watched Noah walk through the doors of his future, I realized that our story would live on in him, in every choice he made, in every person he loved, and in every dream he pursued. And I knew that no matter where life took us, the legacy of our love would endure, woven into the fabric of our family forever. After Noah left for college, life quieted down in a way that was both refreshing and bittersweet. Emily and I had poured so much of our energy into raising him, teaching him, and watching him grow that the house felt a little emptier without his laughter and presence. But we were proud of him, knowing he was well prepared to face the world and make his own mark. In those first few weeks, we'd often sit together, reminiscing about the moments we'd shared as a family. It felt like our own love story had come full circle. We had started with nothing but each other, faced challenges, and built a life together. Now, we were entering a new chapter, just the two of us, and it brought a deep sense of contentment and renewal. Emily and I found ourselves with more time to rediscover each other. We began to take long walks around the city, exploring new restaurants, attending concerts, and even traveling. We were able to talk more, laugh more, and dream about what our future would look like now that we had more freedom to explore new experiences. It was as if we'd been given a second chance to fall in love, and I cherished every moment with her. One sunny afternoon, while we were on a weekend getaway in a small coastal town, Emily and I found ourselves walking along the beach. "Can you believe how far we've come?" she asked, her eyes filled with warmth. "Sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday that we were two young people fighting to be together." I reached for her hand, pulling her close. "And look at us now," I replied, smiling as I gazed into her eyes. "We've built a life, a family, and a love that's stronger than anything I could have ever imagined." Emily rested her head on my shoulder, and for a long time, we stood there in silence, simply appreciating each other and the journey we had shared. In that moment, I realized something deeply profound. Life had given me so much more than I'd ever dreamed. The wealth, the struggles, the triumphs, and even the quiet moments like this. All of it was part of the beautiful tapestry of our lives. Over the next few years, Noah would visit often, bringing stories from his college life and dreams of his own. He'd grown into an intelligent, compassionate young man, and every time he walked through our door, Emily and I would share a knowing look, feeling the pride that only parents can feel. We'd watch him with awe, knowing that he was our greatest achievement, the embodiment of our love and resilience. One evening, as Noah was home for winter break, we sat by the fireplace, sharing stories and laughter, just as we always had. He looked at us, a serious expression crossing his face. "Mom, Dad, I just want to say thank you," he said, his voice steady and heartfelt. "Thank you for showing me what real love looks like, for teaching me to value people for who they are, not for what they have. Because of you, I know that no matter what I face in life, I'll have the strength to get through it." Emily and I exchanged a glance, both of us moved by his words. I felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that our journey, The love we had fought for, the challenges we had overcome, had left a lasting impact on our son. As Noah grew older and started his own career, he eventually met someone special, a girl who shared his values, his kindness, and his dreams. We were there to witness the joy in his eyes, to see him embark on his own love story. And when he asked us for advice on marriage, Emily and I told him what we had learned over the years. Love is about choosing each other every day, I said, my voice filled with the weight of experience. There will be ups and downs, challenges and triumphs, but as long as you choose to stand by each other, you'll be able to face anything. Emily nodded, smiling as she added, "And always remember to cherish the small moments. They're the foundation of everything." Watching Noah and his wife build their own life was like watching the next chapter of our story unfold. It felt as if we were passing down the torch, entrusting him with the lessons and values that had guided us through life. And we knew, deep down, that he would carry those values forward, building a legacy of love, respect, and resilience. Years went by, and Emily and I grew older together. Our hair turned gray, our steps slowed, but our love remained as vibrant as ever. We spent our days surrounded by our family, including the grandchildren who brought endless joy into our lives. Watching them play in the yard, hearing their laughter, and seeing the sparkle in Emily's eyes as she watched them, it all reminded me of how blessed we were. One quiet evening, as we sat on our porch, watching the sunset, Emily reached for my hand, her grip still as warm and steady as it had always been. She looked at me with that same look I'd seen on the night we'd first met, a look filled with love, strength, and an unbreakable bond. "I wouldn't change a thing," she whispered, her voice soft but filled with conviction. Neither would I. Our journey had been one of love, growth, and the kind of happiness that comes from a life lived fully and deeply. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its golden glow over us, I knew that our love story would live on, not just in our hearts, but in the lives of everyone we'd touched. In the twilight of our lives, Emily and I continued to find joy in the simplest of things. Our days were slower, yet rich in warmth, laughter, and cherished memories. Our family had grown, with more grandchildren who brought new energy and laughter into our lives, filling our home with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. One summer evening, as our grandchildren played in the garden, Noah and his wife joined us on the porch. It was one of those golden evenings where everything felt bathed in a warm glow, and we sat quietly, soaking in the peacefulness of the moment. Noah looked at us, an affectionate smile spreading across his face. "Mom, Dad," he said gently, "you've given us so much, not just in what you've provided, but in the way you've lived your lives, your story, your love. It's a gift that shaped all of us." Emily's eyes sparkled with emotion, and I felt a sense of gratitude so profound it was hard to put into words. We had always tried to live our lives as honestly and fully as possible, and knowing that our journey had impacted our family was a reward beyond measure. "Thank you, Noah," I said, feeling my voice catch with emotion. "If there's anything we've given you, It's only because we were given so much ourselves. We were blessed with each other, and everything we've done has come from that love." Noah nodded, looking deeply moved. "I hope one day I can give my children the same foundation," he said, his gaze shifting to his kids playing in the yard. Emily reached over and patted his hand gently. "Just keep loving them and showing them what matters in life. Everything else will fall into place." As the years continued to pass, our family gathered often, each visit filled with laughter, stories, and the warmth of togetherness. We told our grandchildren about our lives, sharing the journey that had brought us here. They listened, wide-eyed, and every so often they would look at each other with that familiar gleam in their eyes, the same gleam that had been in mine the first time I'd looked at Emily. One night, while Emily and I were sitting by the fire, I looked at her, taking in the wisdom and beauty that years of love and experience had added to her face. The lines around her eyes were from laughter, the gentle slope of her smile a testament to the joy we had found in each other. I held her hand, feeling the depth of our shared life, and whispered, "Thank you for everything, Emily. For every day, every memory, every moment." She looked at me, her eyes soft and filled with love. "And thank you, my love, for making all of this possible, for every step we took together, for never letting go, even in the hardest times." As we sat there in comfortable silence, I realized something I had known all along. Our love story wasn't just a tale from our past. It was something we carried with us, something that continued to grow and deepen with every passing day. It was woven into the lives of our children, our grandchildren, and even into the hearts of everyone we had known. In the quiet moments that followed, we both knew that while our story had begun as a simple love between a poor boy and a rich girl, it had become something far greater. It was a legacy of love, resilience, and unwavering faith in each other. A legacy that would live on long after we were gone, a part of the world and the people we had loved. And as I looked at Emily, my heart full of gratitude and love, I knew that I had lived a life beyond my wildest dreams, a life of true, enduring love that would echo through generations.